Hey guys, my name is Gary. I'm a grateful recovering alcoholic and drug addict. Um, okay, step 4. Okay, this is just my personal experience with step 4 and in doing many of them through the course of my life. Okay, so if you're new to this thing called Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, Overeaters Anonymous, whatever, um, here's the thing you want to do, okay? And here's what I did. First of all, we're starting this new journey in our life, and we want to clean the slate. We want to start out this new path um, with a clean slate, right? So you want to hold nothing back, okay? If you've got secrets, find a person that you can talk to, whether it's a sponsor, whether it's somebody you know it says in the book, a good friend, somebody that's not going to judge you for doing whatever, banging the neighbor's wife, whatever. We all got shit. We all got shit that we're ashamed of, that we want to clear our slate from, whether you stole money, um, uh, sexual behavior, whatever it is, Um, mine was easy. Uh, I've got no secrets in my sobriety. I didn't have any secrets after my fourth step. You know, what I did, I found somebody in Alcoholics Anonymous that I knew. That's why meetings help, man, because you can just kick back and listen, and you hear these people that are just as fucking crazy as we are, right? And you can hear these people, and I found there's many people that there is probably 5 or 6 people in AA that know I have no secrets, okay? And as they pop up, and I think, you know, uh, oh my God, this is a secret. I gotta, I tell somebody, and I live a pretty free and open life. This is going to be harder for people that that really have a hard time uh, expressing themselves to other people, or in fear of being judged. So, you know, fear of being judged, that might be a good one to write on your fear list. We'll get to that, okay? So, what I did is I made a list of all the shit that I thought was a secret, right? And then I did it right out of the book on page, I believe it's 65, where it goes through. Um, I'm resentful at, okay? And it talks about resentment being the number one offender, okay? This is resentment takes motherfuckers out of the game. They find themselves drinking again, and I'm one of those guys, right? Um, Resentment is the number one offender. It destroys more alcoholics than anything else. Okay. Now, so we write who we're resentful at. Okay. Um, I'm gonna make one up. Okay. Uh, I should have thought more about this because I could use one of my own, but I don't want to. I don't want to make a video and say, I'm resentful at this person, because I had, when I first got sober, that's when I really cleared away the wreckage, and all the shit that was inside. I was resentful at the ex-wife. I was resentful at, mom and dad, and, all this stuff, okay? But what is it if you write down who you're resentful at? And I'm not going to share it on video, okay? And um, not because I'm afraid to tell you guys what's going on inside of me or what went on inside of me, but I don't want to harm others that watch these videos or may see these videos, okay? So I'm resentful at such and such. In the book, it says I'm resentful at Mr. Brown. I'm Mr. Brown. And his attention to my wife, right? So some dudes, some dude named Mr. Brown, right, was flirting with some dude's wife, right? And this pissed the guy off. So what does it affect? My self-esteem, my pride, but when we get a little deeper, all right, so we write all that stuff down, okay? And it talks about resentment is the number one offender. It takes more alcoholics out than anything else. And I would suggest reading page 65, 66, 67, right? 68. And then it goes to 69. And how funny it is, page 69 is the sexual inventory part, right? But after we do all that writing and reading in the book, right, we list our resentments, we list what it affects, and then it says fear. It talks about fear. And on those resentments, right, there's fear tied up to all of those things, it could be, okay, yeah, this guy's paying too much attention to my wife. I'm afraid I'm going to lose her, right? I'm afraid I've been acting like such an asshole that she's going to be attracted to this guy, Mr. Brown. I'm afraid, some of us are so selfish. I'm afraid she's not going to be cooking dinner for me every night, right? Whatever it is, right? We write it down on paper. And it talks about fear. It's an evil and corroding thread. The fabric of our existence is shot through with it. It sets in motion trains of circumstances which brought us misfortune we felt we didn't deserve, right? And if you list all your fears, don't be afraid, don't hold back either, because we get to take a good look at who we are right there. And it says, when we list our fears, we turn back to the list, for it held the key to our future. So that list of fears holds the key to our future, right? Now, when I'm afraid, okay, it's always about, what am I going to look like, right? What does it look like to everybody else? Because I always want to look cool. I always want to look like I'm the go-to guy, right? Like, I want to be the strong, tough guy. I don't ever want to look weak or bad, right? So it's always, what does it make me look like? What is this situation and this resentment, and why am I pissed off? What's it going to make me look like? And we get to take a good look, that list holds the key to our future, because we get to take a look at how selfish and self-centered we are. I got to take a good look at how selfish and self-centered I was. And it always had to do with finances, what I looked like, or I'm going to lose my sexual relationship. I don't endanger my finances or my sexual relationship. I'm not in a sexual relationship right now. So my life's going smooth. Nice and smooth. And I have my hurdles, I've got my crosses to bear, and I've got my shit that I work on every day, and it's probably good there's not a female in my life right now, because I would be distracted, but there's going to come that time when there is, and I'm going to start writing. I'm afraid I'm going to lose her, I'm afraid, what people are going to think. I'm afraid, and the key to our future, right? I get to take a good look at how selfish and self-centered I am. And that's the inventory right there for me. I mean, it wraps it up in a nutshell. So clear away the wreckage of your past, man, and start fresh. And it doesn't say, you know, take a good look at how selfish and self-centered we are and then beat the living shit out of ourselves. Oh my God, what a fucking asshole I am. Because I could do that with like I just lost my son, my middle son Brandon, to a fentanyl overdose. And I could take that list, right? And beat the shit out of myself. I could have done this better. I'm afraid he died because I wasn't a good enough father. I'm afraid he died because I wasn't sober. I had the opportunity to be sober and I wasn't. That's some heavy shit. And a lot of it is maybe true, and that's the stuff that I have to live with. But, right, with that, right, and it talks about it in the 7th step prayer, but we're not there yet. But I'm just going to talk a little bit about it. With all that stuff, a lot of it is true, right? I get to share about that stuff in meetings, and if I stick around long enough, and I plan to do this one day at a time for the rest of my life, somebody's going to get helped by this. Somebody's going to learn from my mistakes, plural, my selfishness, my self-centeredness. And, it doesn't say we held the list and we beat the shit out of ourselves. No, we're all nuts, man. We're all selfish. We're always thinking about ourselves, and how can I make my life better? How can I get more money? How can I get more, sex? How can I get more chocolate cake? How can I get more prestige at work? How can I get, how can I look good to everybody else, And Facebook's a perfect example of that. You look at Facebook and you look at everybody's lives fucking just golden on there. And, I look at Facebook and I look at that shit for too long and I'm like, God, I'm a fucking loser, because everybody appears to be having this great life. I just think Facebook's a great thing because you can contact other people that weren't in your life. But my God, if I stay on that for too long, I can get lost in it and turn that around to like, God, I'm a loser, and what I've lost and what I've done. And, all these people that are my age have all these big homes, and I could fire up a resentment on me, So we got to stay out of this danger. This is a danger zone, okay? That you don't want to fuck with at all, but we are human and we feel those things, but don't stay stuck in them. That's why we release them to other people and talk about them and end up laughing about them. I promise you, most of this shit we're going to laugh about, okay? I mean, honest to God, you guys, I've known bank robbers, I've known pharmacy thieves, car people that steal cars for a living. I've done a lot of this shit, man. When I was 15, I stole a car. When I was 15, when I was 18. It just goes on and on. Hopefully there's a statute of limitations for something like that, but I'm saying it on I just dumped the car anyways. I was joyriding that both times. Well, one time it was I stole a car from a valet guy. I just got in a turbo Saab and I took off, and that was the second one. And then I brought it back, and the lady was so pissed. She's like, "Who's this fucking guy?" The police were on their way. I gave her a car and I ran. I was just fucking drunk, being a dickhead, right? Something to talk about with my friends. And when I was 15, we were walking around kind of in a wealthy neighborhood by my grandma's house, and I there was a 66 fastback, and I got in it, and we were stealing stuff out of it because it was unlocked. and I turned the ignition with no key in it, and it started up. So I don't remember who I was with, but we took that motherfucker for a ride, man. And that was one of those things we did. And then we didn't damage the car or anything like that. I think we jacked everything that was in it, like cassette tapes and all that stuff. But those are the things, that shit wasn't even on my inventory. It didn't, the shit that bothered me was shit that, affected how I looked to other people. I always want to be the cool guy. And what's funny is, right, it's like I am such a guy that just, I have to be beaten into humility, right? As soon as I start helping people, I start feeling like, I got this now. Yeah, I got this, man. Look how fucking cool I am, right? And then there will be another situation that knocks me on my knees, and, this whole death of my son thing is really, it's really cleared up a lot of the selfishness and self-centeredness for me, because I lost a son that I could have treated better, that I could have approached him at a different angle. And I raised my children sober, okay? I did get sober when I was young, okay? And they were, well, I can tell you right now, the baby is 23 years old right now, but he was 4. And, okay, here's a good one for a 4-year-old, right? So, and this is what of the selfishness and self-centeredness that I'm talking about, right? I fucked up a marriage being drunk, right? And there was things wrong in the marriage, right? But because I drank and used drugs over them, right? I was sober 7 years, so I married this great woman. She's a great mom, right? She just had me over for Thanksgiving. So I married her, and I married her sober, I got sober while we were together. We had just met, and I got sober, and I was sober 7 years. And in that 7 years, we had 3 kids, right? And then I relapsed because things were going wrong in the marriage. I was under a lot of pressure. I was making a bunch of money. I had a big business, and I was very young. I was 29, probably 29 years old, and a lot of responsibility. Probably I bit off way too much, right? Way more than I can chew. And I remember I just got sober, right? And it talks about this kind of shit in the big book, right? So I get sober, and I'm so self-centered that all this wreckage that I've created, right? I'm sitting. I remember it like it was yesterday. I got my son in the back seat in the car seat. He's 4 years old. He's 23 now, and we're in a Chick-fil-A drive-through, and I'm on the phone with. She was my wife at the time, right? And I don't know what she was screaming and yelling at me, right? Who knows? I don't know whose fault it was or whatever, but she was just living with a fucking crazy alcoholic, right? Living, this crazy alcoholic that's completely propelled by self-will, right? Doing whatever the fuck he wants to do, drinking and using drugs. And I'm sitting in the back, I'm driving the car. I get off the phone, and I don't even realize he's in the back seat, right? Because we're going through our conversation, and I'm like, God damn, why is she so fucking pissed at me, right? And I got a 4-year-old in the back seat, and he goes, oh, Dad, I know why. And I'm looking in the rearview mirror back at him, and I go, why? And he goes, well, she doesn't like that you never come home. And she gets real mad. And the girlfriends, she gets real mad at all the girlfriends, right? And boom. Like, I got a fucking 4-year-old. This is how deeply self-centered I was. A 4-year-old telling me, because, okay, well, yeah, that was last week, man. What about this week? That's how I'm put together. She can't get over that. That was last week, right? God, I'm 30 days sober. She doesn't understand, that I'm not put together right, man. I've had to live a life of a lot of pain, and that's knocked me to my knees, and the death of my son was one of them, to where it taught me like a whole different level of compassion for human beings, a whole different level of, and I'm still not there, man. I'm a work in progress, but I kicked it up a fucking notch, I'll tell you, with helping others, and just being more available to others, being more present in situations like family situations. And like I just shared a great holiday with two new friends of mine. And I spent Thanksgiving with my kids and my grandson and my ex-wife. And I looked at each and every person in that whole day, and I was present the whole time. I wasn't thinking about money. I wasn't thinking about a girlfriend I got on the side, or, what she's doing, or, you know, I, I, I wasn't thinking about, this asshole at work, or I was completely present 100% of the time. I could say, oh, who knows if it's 100%, I'm sure I drifted off, you know. I'm not fucking Superman, but I'm much more aware because of those inventories, okay? Because I'm writing. So go into the book, page 65, 66, 67, 68, and the fun one, 69. And remember, when you're in page 69, it says, God alone can judge our sex situation. You can't judge it. God alone can judge it, right? So find somebody to share that shit with, because you're going to be rolling into step 5. And that's the fun one, man. That's the one that sets you fucking free, right? So getting this stuff on paper, getting all your fears on paper, getting your keys to your future on paper, that list holds the keys to your future, okay? I promise you it does. It held the keys to mine. It still does. Every day I get to go a little deeper. Not every day. I don't write every day, but I'm more self-aware every day, right? I'm peeling the onion in front of you guys, right? And I'm honest in meetings. I cut it loose. The things I'm holding back here, as far as listing people or, resentments and stuff like that, I cut that shit loose in fucking meetings, man. I've been in meetings and gone, and I think she's a fucking bitch. And you hear women go, because I'm cutting it loose, right? I'm cutting all that shit loose, And if it needs to be written about, if it's digging on me more than, if I still need to do work after I've shared in a meeting, if it's still grinding on me, well, I did a list on the way to my son's service, driving from Texas to California. I pulled over and was on the phone with my sponsor, giving him a list of my fears. I can cut through all the bullshit now. I'm resentful at and all that stuff. I know what's going on. I'm a fucking frightened human being. I'm a frightened little boy, and that's not getting his way, pounding on his fucking high chair, because the world is not fucking going the way I want the fucking world to go, and I'm fucking pissed off, and fuck everybody, and fuck this, fuck that. And then pretty soon, let me follow that for a little while, I get real thirsty. We gotta let it out, man. Make the list. Make the list. Make the list, and then hit me tomorrow, and we'll share. Okay? We go into step 5. All right? Step 4 is made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. So be searching and fearless when you do this. Pick the right person to share it with. You can tell those tight-lipped people. You can tell. Here's how I pick people. I pick people that I don't give a shit if they've got 30 days or 30 years. You can tell people that got this thing and that value, right? That value this program, this thing that we're doing. right? I I have like my son's friend, right? My son's best friend called me the other day, and I think he's got 5 days today, right? And he's never been to an AA meeting. He had his first one yesterday. Loved it, right? And I hooked him up with a really good guy, right? And I'm going to send another one his way for a different meeting. But this is a guy that he's got 5 days. I wouldn't have a hard time sharing something with him, right? He's lit up on fire right now. Plus, I know he's a solid dude. So you gotta know solid people, and you find them in the rooms of AA or a priest. They say, go to a confessional. I don't give a shit what religion you are. If you don't trust anybody and you've got something fucking weighing on you that you think you're gonna drink, get in that confessional, and share. Let that priest know, hey, here's what I've done, and I'm trying to live a better life, and I'm in Alcoholics Anonymous, and this is my list. But we'll talk about that tomorrow. But I would say when you're making that list out, you should be also eyeballing who you're going to share that with. Maybe a sponsor, good friend, somebody that understands the path that you're taking, somebody that's not going to judge you, and somebody that's not going to, turn you into the police or whatever. So, and then live, keep going to meetings, live your life, keep that list, spot that person, find that person, and then we'll talk about step 5 tomorrow. Subscribe. We're at 26 minutes, guys. I had no idea. I figured I'd knock this one out in 10 minutes, but it's a long one, man. Step 4, this is important. They're all important. Every step is important and should be done. You don't have to be fucking perfect, I'm just saying, get that shit that's in you, get it out of you. I know people with 30 years of sobriety, they've done one inventory and they go to meetings. They help people. So my experience isn't like that because I'm fucking nuts, right? I'm a guy who can create a lot of wreckage in sobriety, so I got to keep that. I got to keep working the steps, right? I'm nuts. I'm one of those guys. I'm just, and I've accepted it, and it's getting better, So subscribe, you guys. Let's do this thing together, and send me some messages, man. Spread the videos. I don't know, maybe they're not worth spreading, but there's a few people that are really getting help with these things, and that's what keeps me going. The other thing is there's something called the Impact Foundation LA.org. It's run by an Energizer bunny named Vicky. Never stops, never sleeps. She just keeps going. Nailed it. And I think that's the first time I nailed that one. Vicky is a lady who I went to high school with. She started the Impact Foundation when she lost her son, Chase Malone. And Chase took a drug he didn't know he was taking. He was taking a very safe drug, that not we've all, but a lot of us have done. And, he was poisoned by the cartel because those fucking motherfuckers are putting fentanyl in everything, right? So, and they don't have scientists, dosing the doses or anything. They're just a bunch of fucking idiots making this shit in a bathtub, and they don't give a fuck who they kill. Bunch of fucking idiots, right? So, they're just mixing it up in a bathtub. They don't give a shit who they kill. Well, they killed Chase Malone. And Vicky, with all that pain, it was her son, and she's showing me, right? And I know I'm getting to know Vicky better. I didn't really know Vicky in high school. I just went to high school with her. But through her pain and it's excruciating. I can't even get into how fucking gnarly it is, right? But when you lose a child, like I just did and like Vicky did, the pain is so excruciating. My only way out was like to help others my only way out from the guilt of not living, being sober for him and trying to guide him is helping others, right? And Vicky's got her own shit, and she turned that inward mess that we have into outward love, and she started the Impact Foundation LA.org, and it's designed to help people, and it's a foundation that is not being run. You know, Vicky's not driving a Ferrari going, yeah, donate to the Impact Foundation, right? Vicky drives a car that breaks down all the time, and she works her ass off. This woman works like 18-hour days, okay? She leaves her house early in the morning and she sets up meetings and everything. She does the impossible, right? You know, and she set this foundation up to help others, to give herself some relief inside like I am, and to bring joy into her life. And her son doesn't die in vain that way. Her son just doesn't get forgotten, right? Just another statistic from fentanyl, you know? So this foundation's going to help thousands of people, man. But it's growing its wings right now. And the way it's growing its wings is from your donations. And the Impact Foundation LA.org needs your help. It needs your donations to grow. So please go on the Impact Foundation LA.org and donate to this wonderful cause. Thank you, guys. I'll be back for step 5 tomorrow. Oh, and don't forget the 5-day God Challenge. 5-day God Challenge. Get on your knees. Try it for 5 days. Got nothing to lose. If you don't believe in God, believe that I believe. Use my God. My God got me sober. He's a strong God, man. He can get many people sober, right? You got nothing to lose. Pretend there's a God if you don't believe. Pray to that pretend God and see the miracles that happen in your life.